And we have Pastor Clara Dobb come up and
Let's pray together. Oh, gracious God, from whom all blessings flow, bless the work of those gathered here today, every mind and every heart. Ultimately, only you know what the future holds, so we hand this meeting and any outcomes over to you. Use the talents, abilities, and time of these community servants to promote a better and kinder world. Remind them that their work makes a huge difference. Keep them humble. Set them free from contest or comparison so that their collective decisions and work serve the good of all. In your strong name we pray. Amen.
that's the sheriff, and he leads in the prayer and pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first thing that we had to add on the addendum, I want to go ahead on and do this in first. We have an order authorize the application for match funds through DEQ and other appropriate agencies related to offer funding projects, and authorizing Pamela Aldridge, County Administrator, and Jacqueline Turner, County Engineer, to act on behalf of Harrison County to make applications.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we have a hearing to receive public comment regarding the Harrison County proposed budget for fiscal year 2022-2023. No comment? Okay. Item 2 is hearing to receive comments on the tax increment financing plan, aka TIP, in connection with the Men's Avenue ITM project in Harrison County. Any public comment? No public comment. Item 3. Well, let's skip over that like this. Guess we'll come back to number 3. It's set for 10. I guess we'll go ahead and do it now. I don't see why not.
Well, we have.
But it's on the
You can do
agenda
it
like
now.
that though.
You can.
Can you do it early? What if someone
Oh,
here
it's
at
before 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You
We
need
should
to wait.
probably wait in case someone has an
Okay,
interest.
number 4, resolution approving the adoption of implementation of the tax increment financing and redevelopment plan in Harrison County, Mississippi, as amended and restated July 2022.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
We need to skip to 7.
Right now?
We need to skip to number 7.
Until we have the hearing.
Right.
You don't approve the plan until we have the hearing.
Until after the hearing.
All right, number 7. All right. Order concurring with the resolution of the Harrison County Development Commission authorizing and approving the sale of approximately 2 acres of real property located in and being part of the northeast 1/4 south of southwest quarter of section 16, township 8 south, range 12 west, Long Beach Industrial Park, to Gulf Coast Farms, Inc., for the purpose of cannabis cultivation and a processing facility. Motion.
Motion.
I'll second discussion. If I'm not mistaken, Bill, this might be premature, because don't you have to have a conditional use permit? So it's premature.
This is
Would
just
it be
approving
premature?
it. The contract says subject to their getting approved by all the state agencies and all the things that they have to do at
Okay.
the state level.
Okay. Just
And
want
once
to make
that's
sure
complete,
they are-
then we can close, but we
Just
won't
want to
close.
make sure it's understood that it requires a conditional use permit, which has not been granted yet.
Yes, sir. Lot more work to go ahead of us.
Okay.
All right, is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bill, I still think it's a little premature, that we shouldn't even have a vote until we hear the dome. Well, I'll accept it.
It's a chicken and the egg, because they have to have an address to do the applications at the state, so we're just trying to play along with all the rules.
Item 8, order approving the request of Mississippi State University Extension Services to fill the vacant position of Extension Agent 1 with 4-H POP responsibilities and authorizing the board president to execute the necessary performance order. Motion.
Motion.
Need a
We
second?
got to the consent agenda yet?
No.
Need a second for item 8.
A second to replace the.
So,
Is there any discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. 9, resolution approving the budget of Memorial Hospital at Gulfport for fiscal year 2022-2023.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion, Mr. Kent, Nico? How you doing?
I'm just here to answer any questions if our owners have any questions for me. We're continuing our healing process, and our ending fiscal year this year will be better than last year, and we're budgeted for a 1.5% margin, which is much better than many hospitals across the country is doing right now. As you know, healthcare is in a serious financial downfall. We were fortunate that Fitch recently confirmed us and removed us to stable from concerns. So we feel good on the path we're currently on.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Item 3, recognize Mr. Matt McDonald, Executive Director of the Mississippi Coast Coliseum, and Michelle Minigan, Assistant Executive Director, to present the Coast Coliseum proposal.
Morning.
Morning.
We're here for 2 items today, but one is to the approval of our budget for the year. And then the second item is for our marketing rights deal that we put together for a beer sponsorship within the Mississippi Coast Coliseum and Convention Center. On the budget, our current revenue, we've increased it 58% from this time last year, while our current expenses only increased 18%. We paid off the entire loan balance that we had with Bancorp South for the old Holiday Inn property, so we have no debt there. We hosted 58 concerts and events in the arena with more than 305,000 people attending. That includes our Crawfish Festival, Summer Fair, and Cruising the Coast. Convention Center, we generated $1.9 million in revenue, hosting 196 event days with 155,000 people showing up for those events. We had 4 concerts this year that grossed over $1 million. That's equal to what we had in the first 44 years that the building's been open. Those shows were Morgan Wallen at $1.8 million, Reba McEntire at $1.3 million, Chris Stapleton at $1 million, and Alan Jackson at $1.35 million. The only downside we have is our $7 million trust fund. It's looking great because of the market. But other than that, and we can't control that, everything else is great. The money's, our liquid assets, cash-wise, is greater than we've ever seen. And at the end of this month, we can honestly say that this is the very best year in the 45-year history of the building.
Not on your vendor agreement, I read that, and there's excuse me, an agreement that the vendor has a right for certain seats. For activities, do they pay for those seats, or is that?
That's included in the money that they are going to give us annually. We use part of that money to purchase those tickets. The money is for a signage and image and branding agreement. It's not an exclusive pouring agreement. That's not allowed in the state of Mississippi. But we can offer exclusivity in terms of signage and branding and imaging. And
Which
that's
includes the seats?
Yes,
for
sir.
the
Yes, sir.
show.
Yes, sir. It's 4 seats per show. We have a similar arrangement with Coca-Cola.
But that's included in
the
the
money that
contract,
they-
so it's not a,
Yes, sir, it's included in the contract and the money that they give us annually. I might add the money that they're giving us annually is $135,000 a year. That's significant in terms of helping us offset any shortfalls that we may have while we didn't have any at all this year. you know, our business is cyclical, and it's really the nature of the economy. And surprisingly, we're doing extremely well considering where the economy is.
If I read that correctly, you were a little shy, your revenues were a little shy of your expenses on that. How'd you make that difference up with your?
With deals
With this,
like
yeah.
this, and also with our rental income that we get from
Gotcha.
FEMA and Memorial. Yes, sir. And also, I might like to introduce, joining us today is Jeff and Rylan Bertucci. This is the 4th generation of the Bertucci family being in the beer business here on the coast. And that's what really makes that deal kind of special for us, very special, is the fact that we're working with a local company that's been 4 generations strong. So a lot of opportunities, a lot of new products that they offer with over 250 brands that they represent. So we're going to be able to mix and match and get a product mix tailored for every demographic that we cater to from event to event.
That's cool.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds like fun.
Great job, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome news.
I'm sorry, this is Michelle Meningman, my
Michelle.
assistant director, and Shelley Ferguson, our chief financial officer. We have a great team there, and we thank y'all for the support that y'all give us.
Okay.
Thank you, Matt.
All right, right there, we're going to take up number 11, which is concerning your order acknowledging receipt of and concurring with the resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Mississippi Coast Coliseum approving an exclusive marketing and partnership agreement with FEB Distributing Company, Inc.
Thank you.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, motion to accept the Coast Coliseum budget.
Motion.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next up is consent agenda items number 12 through 18 has been placed on the consent agenda. Same appearance to be routine, non-controversial matters on which all supervisors are likely to agree.
Mr. President, Mayor, I would like to, on item 15 on the claims docket, remove item number 2, listed as number 2, remove that for a separate vote.
Number 15.
Under 15.
It's not gonna be on your agenda, it's under the claims docket, so, okay.
Say what?
It's not on the agenda, it's on the claims document.
It's on file,
Email.
yeah.
Right.
I don't know what that.
We're fixing to vote on the claims docket under the consent agreement, and I won't vote on item number 2 on the claims docket, separate from the rest of the claims docket. No matter what it is, there's gonna be a vote on it.
She just doesn't know what
I
it is.
just
She
don't-
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
doesn't know
just
what it
don't
is
have
for
it.
her notes.
Oh,
She's trying to figure out.
Oh, okay.
What's item 2?
Item 2.
We'll get it to me.
Item 2 under the
You
claims
have a copy
docket.
of the claims docket?
I have it right outside for public view.
Yeah, it's the.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we'll vote on the others. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Now, item 2, we're going to take it up separate.
Motion to deny.
Second.
What is it? What it is?
It is a refund, Civic Center refund.
Okay, well, it died for a second. I mean, for lack of approval.
Pardon?
It died. But we gotta vote 2-1. I said yes. Y'all said no.
What needs to be
Voted
voted on
to
separately
deny.
if y'all want
We
to talk
voted
about it.
separately on a motion to deny number 2.
Right.
We haven't voted yet.
Okay, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Aye. Next up is item 19. Order acknowledging receipt of and approving petition for decreases to the 2020 and 2021 real property road as recommended by tax assessor.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 20, order acknowledging the receipt of and approving petition for a decrease to the 2021 state assessed public utility road as recommended by the tax assessor.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 21, order acknowledging receipt of and approving petition for increases to the 2022 real property road as recommended by the tax assessor. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 22, order spreading upon the minutes personnel changes for the tax collector's office as listed and on file with the payroll administrator and the human resource department.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 23, order approving salary increases in the amount of $2,000 each for the tax collector's employee Chastity Wood and Stephanie Morris, who have attained certification as a collector of revenue, and Crystal Mason, Alexis Bankston, and Julia May, who have attained certification as a collector of revenue 2, as provided for section 27-151 and 27-167 of the Mississippi Code, effective October 1, 2022.
Motion.
Second. Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 24, order approving the items transferring the amount of $879.96 from 001-104-521 to 001-104-919 for the purpose of purchasing 2 televisions and 2 mounting brackets from Best Buy for the tax collection office in the Gulfport Courthouse. Motion.
Motion.
Second discussion now, that's for the citizens that come in can review.
It'll give them deadlines and pertinent information pertaining to the office nonstop, so they don't get extra fees, and they can read and go back and tell their family members.
Good.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 25, order approving change order 01 CCR1 for Quavis delivered bridge replacement in the amount of $7,735 to adjust power links to field conditions and authorizing county engineer to execute form as recommended by BMA, consulting engineer, and Jacqueline Turner, P.E. Harrison County Engineer. The final power link requirements were estimated during the design and could not be finalized prior to the test power installation during the construction contract, and field conditions required additional link. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
And so y'all know the project was 100% grant funded. It's good for citizens to know that, and it's contingent on funds that are available to cover the cost.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving the final plat of parcel 9 Wolf River Reserve subdivision located in section 34 and 35, township 6-7, range 13 West, Supervisor, Board of District 3, as recommended by Jacqueline Turner, P.E. Harrison County Engineer. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 27, order approving subdivision application for Robinwood Village subdivision located in section 6, township 6, South Range 11, West, Supervisor, Board of District 2. First district as recommended by Jacqueline Turner. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 20, order approving the joint funding agreement between the U.S. Department of Interior, U.S. Geological Survey, and Harrison County for the period October 1, 2022 through September 30, 2023 for the operation and maintenance of 3 steam gauges in the amount of $23,400 with contributions of $3,000 from the U.S. Geological Survey Cooperative Matching Program for a combined total of $26,400 and authorizing the execution of said agreement. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 29, order approving travel for Emergency Management Director Matt Stratton and Deputy Director Rob DeBrino to attend the MCDE MA 2022 Emergency Management Education Conference on November 15th through 17th, 2022 at Pearl River Resort, Silver Star Casino in Cha-Cha, Mississippi. Estimated cost for 2 nights is $539. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving Ms. Dana Thrower to replace Mr. Billy Ship as EMS representative to the Harrison County Emergency Communications Commission for the remainder of this term ending July 14, 2026, as recommended by the American Medical Response. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 31, order approving travel for Fire Chief Pat Sullivan to attend Mississippi Fire Investigators Association Fall Seminar to be October 5 through 7, 2022 in Richmond, Mississippi. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Order approving travel for firefighter David Nelson to attend the Advanced Vehicle Extrication course to be held October 18th through 20th, 2022 in Slaughter, Louisiana at St. Tammany Parish, District 1. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving the purchase of crossfire deck gun monitor nozzle package from Sonneville Fire in the amount of $4,999 and authorizing transfer of funds from 103-250-922 to 103-200921 for same. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. 34, order approving the low quote purchase in the amount of $22,803.78 from Verge Interest Solution LLC for 2-day doors for Station 4, County Farm Road South, payable from 106-250-641 state rebate funds. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving the low quote purchase in the amount of $22,803.78 from Verge Interest Solution LLC for 2 back doors for Station 5, Canal Road, payable from 106-250-641 state rebate funds. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving line item transfer in the amount of $3,976 from 106-250-641 to 106-250-921 to purchase floor liners, rain guard, steps, and toppers for the 2 new F-150 trucks. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order authorizing and advertising for RFQs for professional architecture and engineering services for the construction of a new fire station at Traditions.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. We'll come back to 38. We'll have 10 o'clock. We'll go back up. Okay, have a hearing to receive comments on the tax increment financing plan in connection with the redevelopment plan of the Harrison County, Mississippi as amended and restated July 2022. Any comments? No comments? Okay. Resolution approving the adoption and implementation of the tax increment financing redevelopment plan in Harrison County, Mississippi, 1997 as amended and restated July 2022.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carries 5. Resolution approving the adoption of the implementation for tax increment financing plan, Means Avenue and I-10 project, Harrison County.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 6, resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Harrison County, Mississippi, approving the form of authorizing execution of delivery of a development reimbursement agreement between the county and Bucky's and Harrison County LLC in connection with the development within the county issuing tax increment financing bonds and general obligation bonds for the purpose of financing the cost of acquiring, installing, construction certain infrastructure improvements necessary for the said development and related purposes.
Motion.
Second. Discussion. Steve, would y'all mind addressing the question concerning Mdot, making sure that a future agreement will occur between the county and Mdot?
Yes.
In reference to submitting reimbursement forms for that general obligation bond?
Yes, sir, we'll take care of that.
Good. I just want to make sure that that's taken care of, because we don't have the staff or the qualifications to deal with that.
Yes, sir, we got it.
take care of it.
Just throw it back, good.
Yeah, I think that they'll issue a permit to allow it to be built and through that process. They should monitor it too. But we may have to have somebody also monitor. Jackie, I think, can handle that to some extent for the county. We should have somebody ourselves looking over
I
that.
don't mind, no, I don't misunderstand me, I want
Right.
the county involved, I want to make sure that somebody is familiar with building interstate highways.
Yes.
That would know it, that's what I'm talking about.
We've been communicating back and forth, and MDOT has intentions of having staff on site regularly and then coordinating with my office.
Good, so that when we get,
Yeah, we can spot
we
check.
get invoices in reference to reimbursement, we'll know that they're up to par.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carried. All right. Item 38. Order approving the 5 district grade changes for Cuevas and Designing and Social. Motion.
Motion.
Second, Pat, what is that grade, you're adding to each one, aren't you? Is that the one where you're adding to those districts?
Yes, so basically, after I went back and did an audit, there was some gaps, little holes that weren't filled in. And so this is going back to plug those holes up and make sure that they fell within the area that they need to fall in, so that those people would get the rating that the other people got.
Good, it won't affect the rating, they'll get the rating.
It will affect those people, yes, sir, it affect
For
them getting
the
it.
benefit.
In a good way.
Overall, it
I'm
will
talking
not.
about it won't reduce the credit rating.
Yes, sir. But they'll get the same rating that everybody else is getting, which is a
Good.
lower rating, yes, sir.
Good.
Thanks for
Thank
getting
you,
that.
Pat.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving out-of-state travel is listed.
Second discussion, this is for our seniors? Okay, just making sure it wasn't just staff. Okay.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we have zoning.
I'd like to hear items 41 to 47 together, our regular cases before the Planning Commission. We ask you concur with the Planning Commission's recommendations.
Mr. President, I'd like to pull out the mobile home on Social Road, on Success Road, for questions.
Which one is it?
It's one on Success Road, mobile home.
There.
Not really. You talking
Compare
about
it.
I'm
county?
sorry.
Which one? I'm sorry.
It's number 46.
46.
46?
46.
Okay, well, we have a motion on the floor. We'll concur with 41 through 45. And then we'll come look at number 46. If we have a motion and a second, all in there, any further discussion, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Now number 46. And 46 is order concurring with the planning commission decisions to approve case file 2208 HC 131 for zoning map amendment and conditional use permit filed by Wallace and Patricia Bushholz. Request approval to change the zoning district classification on the 1.7 acre parcel of land. The property is currently zoned as R1 low density residential district. The request is to change the zoning district classification to R2 medium density residential district for the purpose of planning a manufactured home as shown on the site plan. The placement of a manufactured home in the R2 district requires a conditional use permit for the planning commission. The subject property is located at blah, 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 blah.
Success Road. I'll have
The motion?
motion
Second, discussion?
Motion for what?
To discuss.
To deny?
Discuss.
to discuss.
To
To
discuss?
discuss denying it or approving it?
Well,
It's
one of your
concurrent, so you want to have a
what if-
motion.
what if she-
Concur, and then you're going to discuss whether or not.
Yeah.
The motion is, okay.
The motion.
Second discussion.
Yeah.
This, I noticed this house is, they have a house on both sides, and so what is the reason for changing the, for putting a mobile home in that area? I hate to put you on the spot, but. We might need to remand it back if we don't have any reason to change the zoning.
Well, there
It
is a
should be in the
mixture.
application wise.
There is a mixture of R2, which does allow for a manufactured home, and there is a few manufactured homes in that area also.
But we've been through this before, and there are many more homes than there are mobile homes. So when we're trying to get folks to build homes, so what was their reasoning behind that, except somebody wanted?
Well, the planning commission approved it because what you're saying is there are other mobile homes, manufactured
But
homes.
there are very few. There,
You can
we've
go
done
to the,
we've done a count on that road before.
What's the count?
We didn't do it this time, but we've done it many times before.
And what did it say? I
There
mean,
are
what
many
was
more homes than there are mobile homes.
He doesn't have a count.
And there's, I think there's homes on each side of that lot.
There is a home to the south of the property, 2 homes. And then there looks to be manufactured homes to the north of the property, and it's like 1, 2, 3, and 3 more to the south of the other 2 houses. And then across the street on Success is a wooded area.
Success is an up and coming area though, because we need to decide what we're gonna zone that and let it be.
And there was no opposition at all received.
I know.
So there was no opposition, the planning commission approved it. There were other manufactured homes,
Very few
Mixture.
in District 5.
but in this little area, you said there's at least 3
Yes, on the same road.
on the same road.
With a home on each side of it,
Yes.
correct?
Are the people on each side opposing it?
No.
Don't have any opposition at all for the case.
We've had issues though, and we need to be consistent. We had another issue, I believe, when we had a mobile home there. We need to be consistent.
What's your recommendation?
what you
I'd
want.
like to remand it back to the planning commission to reconsider.
Can I say something, please?
Yeah,
That
Mr.
property
Yes,
is
ma'am.
not
About
President.
hours.
Excuse me 1 second. Go ahead.
This has come up before, and I'm curious about the legal on this thing. No, there's no, and I understand Connie's concern, don't misunderstand me. But since there's no opportunity for an appeal, either for or against the application, it comes to us, what, are we serving in a ministerial function, simply approving or rubber stamping the commission in this particular type of action? What authority does the board have? Since there's no appeal, and apparently somebody's lady wants to speak, I don't know if it's for or against, but whatever it is, the other side is not here. And to allow people to speak for or against something without a notification of an appeal concerns me as far as procedural
Well,
processes on this stuff.
there is no appeal, and so there's not a decision to be made based on code. All conditional use permits, as I understand the code, are required to be approved by the board.
So,
So the planning commission makes the initial decision, but this board has the final decision on whether or not to grant a conditional use permit or not.
so you
It's not
don't,
it's not just an appeal, it's that the board makes that decision ultimately. Usually they concur.
but they can't, as Connie's gonna recommend, remand it back.
The board can vote to not grant the conditional use permit. or remand it back. There's three.
Okay.
You can concur, you could disapprove it, or you could remand it back for further development of the record. I mean, I read through the record, you know, it's not a very long discussion about the issue about changing the code, but because there was no opposition, that's not unusual.
I just want to make sure procedurally that we have the right to do that. Since there's an appeal process, and an appeal process is not activated either by the applicant or people who are against it, that we don't have an appeal on one side. You follow me? If somebody disagrees with what Ms. Rocco's saying and they speak up, that concerns me. So we were gonna remand it back?
You can remand it back,
Okay.
you'll have to give them some direction about why you're remanding it back.
I'd like to remand it
I
back
will
and see
second.
what more, for the more development of the record, so that we can actually see why they're wanting to change it. If they want to change it, then there's really, let's change the whole district. Let's not just spot zone, so to speak.
Okay, I second Ms. Rocco's recommendation to send it back.
Okay, is there any further discussion to remand it back to the planning commission?
So we're not denying it, we're remanding it back to the commission so that we can develop a record, so that we're not spot zoning, and it may need to look at the entire area to zone it for mobile homes. But and then you can speak to the commission.
Right, okay. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
There's a procedural problem.
There's
Item 40,
We need to.
what was it, 48?
Yes, 48.
If it's just, if you get one side to speak, the other side is not here.
Right, but this is a board, it's a board decision whether to issue
And that's what, my point is that we did what we can do legally, but if you invite discussion, you got a problem procedurally.
That's right, because there's no appeal.
There's no appeal, one side is not notified.
You're right.
Okay. 40, item 40, order approving payment of claim listed to be paid on the tort account.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed, motion carries. 49, order spread upon the minutes. Personnel changes of the sheriff's office listed and on file with the payroll clerk and personnel and human resource department. Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed. Motion carries. Order concurring with the county administrator on the department listed and on file with the payroll clerk. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed. Motion carried. Item 51, order concurring with the road manager on employment and listed and on file with the payroll clerk and personnel and human resource department. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed. No, motion carries. Order concurring with the youth court on employment as listed and on file with the payroll clerk and personnel and human resource department. Motion.
Second.
Motion.
Motion. Get a second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed. Motion carries. 2053. Order designating any board supervisor, county administrator, purchase clerk, chancery clerk, or any department head as needed as board representative to receive bids for the Martin Ladner Boulevard improvement Long Beach project on Tuesday, September 27th. Motion.
Motion.
Second. Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Steve, I started to put a statue up, but I can't.
It'd be too expensive, isn't it?
It does cast. He's just telling you that. He does have a cast.
Order designating any board supervisor, Pam Ulrich, county administrator, Teresa Hyde, code director, and Judy Williams, purchase clerk, to serve on the selection committee to review RFPs for pragmatic administration of SWIFT grant funds and projects received on Wednesday, August 24th, 2022. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carries. Next, we're gonna have the sheriff.
Morning.
Morning.
Total, we have 825, 42 misdemeanors, 140 females, 27 federal inmates, and 105 state police.
Okay. Thank you, Sheriff. 56, order authorizing the sheriff's office to sell one Glock Model 22, serial number YUY379, asset number 23582, to retiring Deputy Joe Fitchick for a fee of $1. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 57, order approving the low quote purchase for Dakota Air Parts for fuel parts needed for the helicopter in the amount of $25,000 payable from 001-200-922 and authorizing county administrative transfer funds. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 58, order approving low quote for Brent New Case Construction for the installation of the new gate at the Harrison County Law Enforcement Training Academy in the amount of $34,800. Payable from 028-201-901. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 59, order authorizing the board president to sign the Mississippi Development Authority Gulf Coast Restoration Fund request for cash for services dated April 6, 2022 through May 26, 2022. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Order authorizing the board president to execute the final reporting for Senate Bill 2002, sheriff's funding for the Harrison County Law Enforcement Training Academy, and authorizing the county comptroller to close the bank account. Motion.
Second.
Motion.
Motion.
Got a second?
Either one.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me now?
Discussion.
Okay.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving the Second Amendment grant agreement for the Harrison County Law Enforcement Training Academy project for the Gulf Coast Restoration Fund and authorizing the board president to execute same. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving the memorandum of understanding between the Harrison County School District and the Harrison County Sheriff's Office to provide law enforcement services for 1 year and spreading the same up on the minutes. MOU will replace the MOU approved in January 2022. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order authorizing disposal of inactive recorded listed which are eligible for disposal in occurrence with the retention schedule and previously approved by the local government records committee and adopted by the board of supervisors. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second discussion, I'm sorry. Pam, what is this? Disposing what?
These are records, this is sheriff has put it on there.
Oh, sheriff
It's-
stuff,
yeah,
okay.
It's records that they have on file that they're gonna dispose of.
Okay, just the sheriff's
And they
department.
meet the retention, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order retiring asset number 26400 K9 Argo for health reasons and authorizing the inventory clerk to remove the same from inventory.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving mileage reimbursement in-county travel for the following employees. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 66, order authorizing disposal of assets per attached list and authorizing the inventory clerk to remove the same from inventory. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 67, order correcting the inventory adding back an item that was previously disposed but is still in use per attached list and authorizing the inventory clerk to add back the inventory.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Order adjudicating and approving the declaration of 3 Kleenex containers asset number 19726, 19727, and 19728 located at the Maples Drive campus as surplus and authorized disposal thereof pursuant to the authority granted by Mississippi Code. Motion.
Motion.
Second. Discussion.
Second discussion. Pam, I didn't hear anything about this.
These are they're rusty, rundown, those Connex boxes that IT and.
Oh, the boxes,
and the-
okay. It says bathroom, that confused me. Those aren't
That's
bathrooms.
not mine.
Okay,
That was put on
That's
by
the next one.
Greg.
okay, thank you.
Wouldn't it be better to use the word rather than surplus,
Derelict.
no longer usable?
We need to.
Rather
put-
than
Yeah,
surplus,
that's right.
because you would sell surplus property, but property that is
We
no
need
longer
to-
junk, to declare them junk,
Yeah,
rather than surplus, because you can.
they're
sell
100%
surplus
rusted out.
Yes.
I
And
would
it's,
suggest
there's
that
no
we change-
value. We
I
need to
guess it
probably
is
include that there's
junk,
no
isn't
value.
it? Because we're giving it away.
I mean, it's metal, some scrapper might want it, but I doubt it.
They're not paying, they checked into that also, they're not paying.
No, they're not paying to remove it, they're getting it.
Gotcha. Okay, thank
I
you.
just think we need to be careful what word we use,
Yeah.
surplus, junk rather than surplus.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 69, order adjudicating and approving the declaration of bathroom trailers located at the Harrison County Fairgrounds as surplus and authorized disposal thereof pursuant to the authority grant by Mississippi Code. Motion.
Now, are those,
Can I get a motion?
no longer usable, or?
I'll make a motion so we can discuss.
Second discussion. Scotty?
Or just, are they derelict, are they no longer usable?
Greg Whitfield,
You know, move them off, you're gonna,
Did Greg ask you to do this, Pam?
yes.
Okay, I just didn't.
they're surplus.
Was
He,
there
and
any
he's on
discussion?
it, requested it be on the agenda.
Okay,
I did ask him, about it, and he said that they were, they already built new ones out there, and
Yeah.
they're no longer needed, they're not in good shape, just what he told me.
okay,
Do
it's
we
fine.
sell them, or do we sell them, or do we just?
This one
Dispose
is
of.
doing the
It's a
same
tr-
thing. He's,
It's a trailer, all somebody's gonna do is go and hook it up, move it out.
But
Yeah, it's still on
It says
wheels.
it's a trailer, it's a
is it gonna be
bathroom
sold,
trailer.
or is it gonna be, this is my question, because it says surplus instead of,
They
you know,
said
declared
remove.
as junk.
It says remove.
Tim,
no
what do you
cost.
think?
I mean, the resolution itself says what's being done. It's being disposed of at no cost to the county, as opposed to hauling it off. I mean, whether you call it surplus or junk, the order takes care of that. It's not telling you what's going on. It's not like it's really being declared to be surplus. Probably bad language. Declared junk with no value, and this person willing to haul it off at no cost to the county.
Do we need to correct it? Or just let
If
it
you
go?
want to just make a motion, you can correct the order
Okay.
and say
Make a
junk
motion
instead
that
of
we correct the
surplus,
order.
the one that's going to be spread on the minutes.
A
Just change your
substitute
motion to
motion.
say declaring it junk instead of surplus.
And has no value.
So just take out the word surplus as junk.
It'll reflect on the minutes.
And I can fix the order and be spread on the minutes appropriately.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Your motion should be to declare it junk and be disposed of at no cost to the county.
That's my motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Order authorizing reimbursement to the road fund 150000360 in the amount of $2,013.95 payable from 001-200-581 for the demolition of an old sheriff's building on Lorraine Road. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Authorize the reimbursement to the Bridge Fund 1600360 in the amount of $288.51 payable from the Sand Beach Fund 156355639 for signs made. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Order authorizing the reimbursement to the to the road fund 150000360 in the amount of $38,687.45 payable from $15 million 2018 bond fund 313-545-909 for work performed on the new Wool Market walking track. Details attached. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Order authorizing reimbursement to the bridge fund.
President, it's 10:30.
Okay. Order authorizing reimbursement to the bridge fund 160-000-360 in the amount of $101.97 payable from Thailand West Boat Launch Fund 328-541-639 for signs made. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. We'll come back to this now. We have a 10:30 hearing. Let's see.
Number 40.
Okay, we have a zoning appeal for 10:30. The appeal is filed by Stephen Simpson for approximately 30 residents of the Planning Commission decision to approve case file 2206 HC 113 for a conditional use permit filed by Robert Hodges for 419 Development Group LLC requesting a conditional use permit to allow for a 870 lot single family residential subdivision to be known as Patriot Ridge, phase 1-6 on 332 acres of land as shown on the site plan. Modification to the approved subdivision plan requiring a conditional use permit from the Planning Commission. The property is currently zoned as R1 low density residential district. This subject property is located at Highway 67 and Three Rivers Road.
Okay, just a few rules for the appeals process. The appellants have up to 3 speakers with 10 minutes each. Then the applicant will be able to have 3 speakers at 10 minutes each. We'll give a rebuttal for the appellants, which can be 5 minutes each. This case came before the board in October 2021 for a zoning map amendment and conditional use to allow for what we call a mixed-use development and to allow for phase 1 of 230 lots, which was known as Gulf Trade subdivision. The property was also rezoned 32 acres to the C2 and R2 58 acres. Today is a modification to the site plans. A new conditional use permit was submitted to allow for a total of 878 lots, a single-family residential subdivision of 332 acres on R1 to allow for phases 1 through 6, now known as Patriot Ridge.
Okay.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. President, members. Stephen Simpson on behalf of adjacent landowners in both the Dogwood Hill subdivision, which is directly across Highway 67 from this proposed development, and up and down Three Rivers Road, which is also adjacent to it. This is somewhat of a strange appeal because of the procedural kind of nature that it took. In September of 21, as she stated, the developers came before you, or the applicants came before you and said, we have this proposed 300 and some odd, almost 400 acre tract of land. It's got a large dirt pit in the middle of it, by the way. And we want to make part of it R2. We need a zoning amendment. It was all agriculture. We want to make part of it R2 for some college apartments. We want to make part of it commercial, and we want to make the rest of it residential for these housing units. But it's only phase 1. It was a relatively small tract of land at that time that was going to be developed in phase 1. And by the time the difference had changed from the time they made their application to the hearing before the Planning Commission, they changed all their lots, having heard the previous discussion of the Planning Commission and this board. They changed their 212 lot, phase 1 subdivision to all 80-foot fronts. And as you might imagine, there was not a large uproar in the community surrounding area about that. Went through the Planning Commission and went through this board. And the zoning was changed because of that. And as was the CUP approved.
That was 80-foot lots.
Yes, sir, back in 2021.
And you're saying that's I'm sorry, Steve, you're saying that's an increase of the 80 foot, or what were they originally?
No, that's what they approved at that time, that's what they
Okay.
asked for. Well, the original app said 70-foot lots. Malcolm and Pat Monk represented, hey, by the way, they've changed that, they're gonna do 80-foot lots,
Okay, so that's why people didn't oppose.
which
what you're
everybody
saying.
had a big smile about.
Okay,
Well, more than 6 months passed for the purposes of y'all's, the ordinance rules. But in any way, in 2022, they come back with a new conditional use permit and says, we've got an opportunity to flip it. We've got a DL Horton who's coming in. He wants to develop all 6 phases. Here's Bobby Henry comes before him with a new plat. It goes from 212 lots in phase 1 with 80-foot fronts to 870 lots. Now, this planning commission in Harrison County and subsequent to this board, and I don't have the exact number, but I heard Pat testify in another case in which I was involved, that over 1,500, maybe close to 2,000 houses or sites for houses have been approved over the last 18 months by this planning commission and this board. Clearly, they're not all developed or built yet, but you have approved at least that many. This developer has come in and now asked for a conditional use permit with 870 lots on the corner of Three Rivers Road and Highway 67. He will tell you he does not have an Mdot permit. I think he will admit he does not have an Mdot permit to go from 67 into the area. And his alternative is just to make his ingress and egress onto Three Rivers Road. Now you do the math, how many families, when it's ultimately built out, how many cars and families going to be dumping on to either Three Rivers Road or on their best day, Three Rivers and 67, with to try to go into and from St. Patrick's in that area. My problem, ladies and gentlemen, and is that it is not in conformity with the area up there. The people up and down Three Rivers Road have large lots, acres and above, an acre and above. Dogwood Hills, minimum wise, half acre, and many of them have an acre or more. This is completely incompatible with the subdivision area and the area around it. What bothered me, and I made it part of the record, if you had a chance to review it, is Mr. Henrik, in his original presentation back in September of 21, talking about what a good development this was, acknowledged we're not trying, this is not one of those where we're cramming down a bunch of houses into a small area. We got 212 houses with 80-foot lots. And after they get all their approval, including zoning amendment and conditional use permit, they wait 9 months, come back and say, wait a minute, we want to change the whole thing. And we want to do all 6 phases, because that's the only way we can sell it and make the money off of it, and put 870 lots. And where 39%, 40% of the entire development is 60-foot fronts. 60-foot fronts. Now this board and the planning commission, you already know the zoning amendment that you're discussing and I think are going to take up sooner than later about 60-foot fronts. 40% of it is 60-foot fronts. 30% of it is 80-foot lots and 31% of it is 70-foot lots. So that is not the type of density and subdivision that that area should have. It's incompatible with the surrounding neighbors. It's incompatible with the people who invested in property up and down Three Rivers Road and in Dogwood Hills to drop in an 870 unit high density residential subdivision with commercial space and R2 space in addition to it, the 870 in the R1 district. So that is our problem, and how you undo what this board has already approved is what Mr. Jones is about to tell you. You already approved the zoning, the commercial, the R2 and the R1, and you already approved the conditional use permit for the 212, but they were 80-foot lots. That application is, and they told the planning commission, you've already done this, you've already approved this, we just got a new plat. It's not the same thing. It's Timex Rolex. It's chicken salad, it's not the same thing. I'm sorry, it's not, it is not what was presented to this planning commission, it was not what was presented to this board and representatives of what they were gonna do. They told you one thing, And it's a bait and switch. Now they came back later, because there's profit in it, and I don't mind people making a profit. But they found out, you know, phase one at 8-foot lots, not nearly as valuable as 870 lots with 60-foot fronts. There's not water and sewer out there. Dogwood Hills is 100% on septic tanks. The county did bring water to it because they had a well issue years ago. But they'll need to bring water to that area, and they'll need to bring sewer. They talked at the planning commission about where they were going to put a pump station, and the private property owner was present and said, wait a minute, you're talking about putting it on the corner of my lot? How are you going to do that? There are gopher turtle questions. There are all kind of other flooding problems, which this board typically hears. And Malcolm correctly will say those were all problems for the county engineer at a later date. My problem, and these residents' problem out there, is it was sold to you and represented to you from a zoning amendment text and a conditional use permit as one project, and now it's a completely different project. And at a minimum, it ought to go back and be looked at more closely as to its density and its location. I argued to the planning commission, I'll bring to your attention today, you know, Tradition is just next door. Part of Tradition even backs up to the Dogwood Hills subdivision. I don't know how many acres, but there's 15,000 residential units available for development there. And then DL did one small development and had a contract to do another one. And they found a close by parcel at a cheaper price, and they intend to try to do the same thing. That's a need question, and apparently the developer is going to tell you, and Malcolm's going to tell you, we've already satisfied the need question. I question that, given how many subdivisions and undeveloped parcels are already approved by this board. But I ask you to seriously consider what an 870 parcel development crammed in that space will do to 67 and 3 Rivers Road and the amenities, the facilities in that area. And ask you at a minimum, if not to deny this, to at least remand it back to planning where we can make a more full record. I was not present when this was originally approved. When they came before them with 212 lots and 80-foot fronts, they didn't see the need for council. They didn't have representation. They invited. And now they feel bamboozled, was the word I used before the planning commission. So I ask you to reconsider the planning commission's approval of that. Any questions?
Can I ask? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just want to know, the previous conditional use permit is done.
I'm sorry, the previous one?
The previous conditional use permit that was granted is done, it's expired.
It expired, that's correct. It expired for lack of any
Now that
activity.
extended, this is an entirely new.
This is a conditional, but they didn't have to come back to rezoning. They didn't go back and have to relitigate and get approval for rezoning. They already had the zoning approved under the guise of the phase one. So they came back and says, look, you've already approved everything in zoning. All we're asking is for new conditional use. Well, the conditional use is a whole different project. It should have been considered when you talked about public needing a change in the neighborhood. That should have been considered for an 870, 60-foot front development. That's not what the planning commission actually considered. That's not what was before them. So they got sold a bill of goods that is not what's being built.
You're talking about on the zoning.
Even on the zoning. Now, I don't know if I can unring that bell, but they approved something on a representation that's completely off the table.
Zoning was changed for a 270-foot subdivision, lot subdivision. That was together.
They got zoning changed for the entire parcel. However, they only asked for phase one to go forward. And that was going to be 212 80-foot fronts.
Okay, so that.
And that's long gone.
That's gone.
Oh, is that gone?
That's
Yeah.
what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, now 40% is 60-foot fronts.
Now you have a zoning change, but you have a new conditional use permit that's.
A new conditional use permit to do all 6 phases instead of just phase one, and it changed phase one.
The zoning is not an issue before us today.
It should be, but I'm not sure it is, Marlon, to tell you the
Because
truth.
zoning has been
Zoning's been changed.
Conditional use permit is the issue.
Is before you, that's correct, sir.
See, and maybe the applicants can answer this. But did you say they do not have a permit to enter 67?
They do not from Mdot, not yet. Well, they didn't at the time of the planning commission here. Anything else? Thank you.
Do you have anyone else? Steve, is anyone else going to speak?
I'm sorry.
Is anyone that's gonna speak on,
I invite anyone from the audience to use whatever time I have left. Apparently not. Thank you,
okay,
Mr.
thanks.
I'm just curious if it's okay, Mr. President, are any of you here?
Yeah, could I have them stand, all the
Just stand so
people
you
who
get an
are...
idea of who is opposing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the record will reflect that about 3/4 of the room is here opposing. Which way?
I don't really know. I can appreciate the wrong person on it.
Yeah.
And
Timmy.
And Timmy and Judy.
Okay, go ahead on now.
Good morning. My name's Bobby Heinrich, 1806 23rd Avenue, here to speak for the applicant. I want to answer a couple of questions that were brought up here, a couple of comments were brought up. We did bring this before the Planning Commission and the board back in October for 230 lots, 219, everybody throws numbers around, but it was on the record or on the letter there that there's 230 lots in phase one. Phase one only consisted of about 100 acres of this property. It's 420, the actual acreage of this property is 423 acres, which you see highlighted in yellow here. The R1 is what we're talking about. Phase one consisted of about this area right in here at the top. You still have all of this to do. And so at the time, my client just wanted to do phase one. We've been working with the Planning Commission and several things that, trying to make everyone happy with lot sizes in Harrison County. Y'all spent a lot of money to go out into Harrison County with water and sewer to have developers come in and tie into these utilities. And that's what this client did. I have a letter from HCUA stating that there's 2 pump stations. I've got I got the letter right here, and it shows drawings where these pump stations are that we're going to tie into. When they did those designs, and I was here at a meeting in Biloxi where HCUA, where Derek Bullock made a presentation to y'all about putting water and sewer, or putting sewer in this area. Water's already there. So I've got that letter. I've already presented it, gave it to the Planning Commission. As part of the record. So the next thing, the Mdot Access, it's already there. There's a piece right here in this corner right there. There's actually a crossover right there. There's no more of that on Highway 67 anymore, but that's there. That's our access right there. As far as the
MDOT,
yes,
been approved.
yeah, I mean, you can turn in and out of that right there. The company that was hauling dirt in and out of there used that until they couldn't use it anymore. Okay, so we're going to use
Would it be
it.
a sufficient size to handle the traffic?
Absolutely.
If this were approved, would it be sufficient to handle the traffic going in
I was
and out
asked-
of that subdivision?
Yes, I was asked to provide a sketch of what that entrance would look like. So that's one entrance, this is the other entrance, over off the Three Rivers.
Is there a red light?
No.
Nope.
No.
St. Patrick's High School is right there.
Limited
Yeah.
access highway, so it didn't have.
Major highway, I mean, but we're gonna come now we will have to go get an MDOT permit if we move forward for like turning bays and things like that, which we were asked for. We're gonna do that. We were asked to put turning bays. We're gonna need that anyway. So turning bays will require an MDOT permit right there, but we haven't gotten to that point yet. This is conditional use. Talking about Dogwood Hills, that subdivision is probably close to 50 years old, 40 years old at least. They didn't have any water and sewer out there, so the guy, when he designed that subdivision, put a well septic tank out there. They're over 1 acre. That was fine at that time. It's not like that anymore. This is, why we're here. But like I said, the county spent a bunch of money to put water and sewer out here for developers to tie into. I want to read my little sheet here because time's limited, so that Malcolm can have his turn. And a lot of this may be repetitive. The subject property is 423 acres located at the southeast intersection of Three Rivers Road and Highway 67, known as Patriot Ridge subdivision. Patriot Ridge is not a tax credit development, nor is it designed to be low-income housing, which went like wildfire through Facebook. Okay, so that's probably why a lot of people are here, because they got it confused with another project on Three Rivers Road at the same time, and I'd like to talk. Y'all had your chance to talk, so.
But you're lying. No, we have to.
No, it's all over Facebook. If Anyway, these were false rumors. Last October, the Harrison County Planning Commission unanimously approved to rezone the property into 3 zoning classifications: C2, 32.8 acres, R2, 58 acres, and R1, 332 acres. In addition to the rezone approval 10 months ago, the Planning Commission unanimously approved the conditional use application for Phase 1 only, which is the first 230 lots of this subdivision within the R1 zoning. At the meeting, there was not one single objection from the neighbors. However, I did get a phone call from a lady that was requesting a grocery store. That's why we put commercial up in this area, knowing that there was going to be a lot of housetops in this area. So my developer wanted to put commercial out there. That's why I was there. Also, my client is an apartment developer. He has done beautiful apartment complexes in Oxford and in Starkville in Mississippi. So that's why we decided to put this on the outside of the wetland slough that comes through here, and this is off on its own. It was a perfect spot for apartments or townhomes. It's classified for either one of those. This will have to come back through Planning Commission to get approved. This is not ready to be done yet until we get housetops out here, because there was a need. All these businesses and stuff out around Tradition and 605, all those businesses out there created this, okay? This is what is going out in this area. It's not like it's sitting out there in the middle of the woods, development. I mean, it's got a lot of activity up there in this area. The rezone was established last October, and an initial conditional use application for Phase 1 was previously approved as well. We are here today to discuss a different conditional use application. I'm not denying that. That's why we're here, because it's a different conditional use. That's what you have to do in Harrison County. So I don't know what, I'm not trying to hide that I'm a new conditional use. We are here today to discuss a different conditional use application for the entire 332 acres that will consist of roughly 870 lots to be constructed in 6 phases. Okay, that's going to take a long time to do that, if anyone knows anything about development. The new conditional use application was submitted to the Harrison County Planning Commission, unanimously approved the application on June 16th of this year. Most developers are not home builders. Developers normally sell their developments to reputable home builders. My client, who is the developer, contacted Wharton Homes, who is the largest home builder in the United States, and I have proof of that. Wharton Homes jumped on the opportunity to be the exclusive builder in this development, and my client has been working with them since last October. Due to the number of homes a home builder can construct on 332 acres, a home builder must provide variety to their customers. The home builder may be a first-time home buyer, or a home buyer may, depending on circumstances, want to downsize to a smaller home because of retirement, or to move into a larger home because their family has grown. There are numerous reasons for a home builder to offer a variety of sizes of homes. This is exactly what Patriot Ridge has to offer, variety. In addition to that, Patriot Ridge will be designed with highly desirable recreational amenities, 2 heavily landscaped entryways with turning lanes, ample green space with walking trails, a clubhouse with meeting rooms, exercise rooms, and a splash pad for kids outside the common area. Everything mentioned will be constructed in Phase 1 for all the homeowners to enjoy. They're going to build this simultaneously, these amenities. Wharton Homes has estimated that these amenities will cost approximately $2 million. They're going to throw in there $2 million to make this place an icon for Harrison County. There will be strict covenants within this development with the Homeowners Association that will ensure that Patriot Ridge will remain stable and solid. We have already worked with the adjacent neighbor that requested a buffer on the east property line. The planning department asked me for a 15-foot buffer along their property line. I spoke to my client, and he said to make it 30 feet wide. So on this whole east side over here is a 30-foot wide wooded buffer that only one person asked for, but he said go ahead and give it on the whole east side over there. This side here is the National Forest. There's no neighbors down here. The other side of Three Rivers Road, there's one resident that owns this. The rest of it is national forest. And there's a little bit up in here, a few houses up in there. So he also agreed to provide a 10-foot wide right-of-way expansion along 3 rivers for future expansion here. So he's given up. And this was the request from the Planning Commission to give that 10 feet, and he did that. My client was asked if he would donate a parcel of land to Harrison County to use as they please. Additionally, and that parcel is right here. So that'll be a Harrison County parcel to put a fallout shelter. It's roughly 2 acres, a little over 2 acres right there. And it can be anything that Harrison County would like to provide there.
At one time, we didn't know if we were gonna get the Traditions 5 acres.
Fire station.
So we were planning for that.
He wanted to donate that anyway. Additionally, we're going to meet current Harrison County tree ordinance, which states that 3 trees are to be planted per lot. We're going to agree to that.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yes, sir.
10 minutes up, but you're gonna have anyone else going to speak?
Okay.
No, you want to speak also? Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to go as fast as I can, I promise.
Separate speaker.
Plant 3 trees per lot, and that's in the tree ordinance for Harrison County. Lastly, Patriot Ridge will be one of the premier developments ever developed here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and Harrison County will be proud of this. We have seen growth in Harrison County, and this development will be one that future residents will seek out. I'm here to answer any questions.
Anita, may I ask a question?
Sure.
We talked about amenities.
Yes.
Will you be building the amenities first so that we make sure, and is this considered a subdivision or an entire development?
The R1 is a subdivision, and these amenities will be for the entire development.
But it sounds like with commercial and amenities, that it's more of a development than just a subdivision that we've been seeing.
This is a master plan, this is a community development. This will be a community, it's not just a subdivision. It's a huge development. I forgot to hand these out, but this is sort of a... Shows the amenities, the types of homes, that
What will you build first? Will you build the entrance first?
Yes, they're gonna, it's all gonna be simultaneously, is what I was...
And the pools and the clubhouse?
Yes.
And all that will be built? Because sometimes,
They wanna be able to draw...
in the past, that's not happened. We've heard it was gonna happen, but it didn't happen, so we wanna make.
Yes, ma'am.
If you want to make it a condition, we'll agree to that.
One thing that needs to be made clear too, in reference to the amenities of people to know, is that the county will not maintain those amenities.
That's correct.
It will be up to the homeowners to maintain them.
That's right.
A lot of people think that when we talk about these amenities, parks, other types of amenities, that the county will be maintaining, and that is not the case.
And for instance, that 2 acres you're suggesting we go to the county, we don't want to have to maintain it. If we're not going to use it, that's my thought. We're going to have to get our guys to add one more thing to their cutting grass list. I don't know that we necessarily want it, in my humble opinion.
I think the way that usually works is we dedicate it to the county, but we'll keep the grass cut until we decide to develop it. So it's
In their covenants, they have a homeowners association, and they will maintain this development throughout the entirety of this development. Washouts, things like that may happen, during construction or something like that. That's all on them anyway, so.
And we've had trouble with homeowners associations as well. So do you have a remedy to that as far as some management team or something that?
There will be, my understanding, a management team where homes will have that when they sell these properties to homeowners. That's part of it. They have their own interior management team, yes, ma'am.
This is Malcolm Jones, for developer, P.O. Box 908, Gulfport, Mississippi. So yes, that was one of the things that was discussed at the meeting. This is a different type of subdivision that you've seen before, no doubt about it. It is, as you called it, Ms. Rocco, a development, and it has a lot of amenities you would not see in a typical cookie cutter subdivision. So yes, it will have a management team to manage the common elements and all of the things that have to be kept up. It will be way too much for a typical homeowners association to deal with. Let me just say this. I know that Mr. Simpson's already told you everything I'm going to say, because he said Malcolm's going to say and Malcolm's going to say, and maybe I don't need to say anything, but I think I need to say a few things. And so one of the things that I want to make clear is, this is for Mr. Holloman over there and the board, this is a totally new conditional use application. This is not and cannot be an effort on the part of Mr. Simpson or anybody else to try to undo the rezoning that occurred some time ago, because the time to appeal that is up. That's over with, that's done. We're not here to talk about rezoning, but we are talking about a conditional use application, and it is a new application. So the only reason we brought it up before was just to let them know that, yes, talking about the planning commission, they had seen this before, they had dealt with an application before, and we just showed context, not to say you have to do this because you did it before. This is a totally different application. But notice how much green space, and notice how we've adopted all of the principles that the planning commission has recommended. In the green space, the types of roads that we have, all of the different amenities, everything that the planning commission has been preaching to us about, we have gone back and tried to incorporate to create something that can be, the county can be very proud of. Not to mention the entranceways coming into 67, where there's already, Mr. Ladner, a crossover that's available there. So it's not like we're going to ask the highway department to allow a new crossover to exist. It's already there. It works out well. Of course, we planned it to go ahead and make the access at that point. We also have the other access over here on Three Rivers Road. So I put all into the record all of the average daily traffic counts. It's less than 1,000 coming up and down Three Rivers Road. It's like 5,600, and those are from the most recent data that's available from 2018, 2019. Highway 67, as you well know, was designed for a lot more traffic that's going to go ahead and come into that, not just from this development. There's no doubt about it. But we went ahead and we put into the record the fact that there is a water line that's already out there. It's built. We'll have to tie into it, of course, and do that through the Harrison County Utility Authority. There is a sewer lift station that's going to be installed up here, and I put those maps into the record as well, and the plans that are already there from the Harrison County Utility Authority to bring in the sewer, not just for this development, but it will be available for this development. We showed all that because in the conditional use application, you have to show certain criteria under section 1404.03. One of them is that it's harmonious with the comprehensive plan. We put the actual comprehensive plan into the record. It's part of the East Harrison County Community Plan. The ratio of lots to development is 2.61. It allows you to do up to 3. So you can have 1 to 3 lots per acre in the East Harrison County Community Plan and in the comprehensive plan. We also talked about the availability of other facilities. The fire station is 1.8 miles southeast of the property on Highway 67, just down the road. Flip over to the other map, please. Down here, the other public facilities in the area are the Walmart Community Center, the recreational fields, the Department of Public Safety building, the firing range. The Will Market Elementary and Middle School is actually 1.8 miles away, also at the same intersection down here. The school population at the time I put this into the record was 939. They're a blue ribbon school. I tell you all this because the criteria under that section of the zoning ordinance is whether or not there are adequate facilities in the area. There was no effort made at the Planning Commission to try to put on any proof that this proposed use was going to be detrimental to property values There was no effort to try to show that we could do anything any differently as far as the vehicular approaches that are going to come in at Three Rivers Road. You know, there's no doubt that we're going to have to go ahead and make our access right here, correct, Bobby?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got two ways in and out. We've got everything that's required, the fire protection. Of course, we have the law enforcement protection from the Harrison County Sheriff's Office, does an excellent job out into the county. And there's no information in the record that this is going to have an adverse impact upon the surrounding area. Most of the objectors are across the highway. There's a natural buffer of Highway 67 protecting people from, if you want to call it, the impact of this development. And as you saw, and as Bobby pointed out, it's completely surrounded by national forest. So if you wanted to go and do a big subdivision in an area and have buffer all the way around it, what better place to do it to where you have a 4-lane highway on one side and then a natural forest pretty much around the rest. Now, because we were wanting to address the concerns of the people in these areas here, this is some kind of commercial use there, but down in here, this is on the same side of the highway as our project. We did go ahead and agree to do a complete 30-foot wide wooded buffer all the way for that area. So,
May I ask a question?
sure.
Around the lake, which is the dirt pits under
Yes.
the lake,
Yes.
explain what's gonna happen there. Are those homes are bigger, those lots are bigger?
I'm gonna let Mr. Henry address that.
Yeah, those are the larger lots around the lake, and the whole development will have access to this lake. There'll be ways for them to access. If the clubhouse and the amenities that I was telling you about will be in this spot right here, right by the roundabout, and they'll have access to the lake.
And it'll have a clubhouse, one clubhouse, two?
It's one clubhouse right here.
One clubhouse?
Yes, ma'am.
Pool, did you say something about swimming pool?
Community Civic Center is what they're going to do.
The pool part, I can't really answer that. I think that is probably in the mix, but I don't know that for certain.
I think it was in the mix when you showed
Okay.
me.
I'm gonna go ahead and say there's a pool in there.
I'm getting a nod from the developer.
Okay,
There's a pool.
all right, there's a pool there.
All right.
And a splash pad for the kids. That thing is neat because you walk up to it, and it's got like a little sensor there, and the thing comes on when people are around. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
we
just thought
have-
that was kind of neat.
So,
All to be maintained by the developer and not by the county, as Mr. Lavin pointed out.
okay, I'm sorry, Marlon.
I'm just gonna ask, the subdivision or the houses just south that you pointed out?
Yes, sir.
Do you have what size lots? Those lots?
3.4 acres is mine.
Right. This existing right here?
Yeah, those houses in there. It's a
Those are-
triangle. that-
Talking about up in here,
Right.
right here, right.
What
They're
size
larger, they're probably
4 acres.
3 acres, you know, they're larger lots.
They're large lots.
Right. Now, it's not necessarily a subdivision like Dogwood Hills is across the way.
I realize it's not a subdivision, people
Yeah.
purchase, but they're
Right.
large household lots.
That's
They
why
are
we
large.
agreed to put the buffer too.
Right.
They asked for the buffer, we gave it to them.
Right.
But you also have Tradition, which has small, very small, 0 lot lines right at the road too.
Our minimum is 60 feet.
Back up
Yeah.
here, correct, to the
But
north.
that's if I may, that's a PUD, that's a planning.
It is. It's a planned unit
It's a little different
development.
than what you're talking about.
It's actually a lot.
Traditions is a PUD, got all kind of different things involved in that.
It is, and that's why I didn't use it as a comparable property.
Right.
Mr. Lavin.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a planned unit development and it's a master plan. It's totally different, but
That's right.
it is huge and it is smaller lots and it is there. But I didn't use it as a comparable deal to show that. But I will point out to you that, you know, you're never going to be able to have a subdivision be developed in where the places where you put municipal, what I would call municipal water and sewer, and match up the lots that are already out there because they've been there, like Mr. Heinrich pointed out, for 40, 50 years. It just would never happen. You know, you have the opportunity for higher density when those utilities are there. Now, This is not a situation where they might put the sewer lift station out there. They've already developed plans, and I put those drawings into the record that you have it from the utility authority. And you're actually personally aware of this because you attended the meetings where they told you that. So,
Just, if I may, don't save their time. I want
Right.
more of a comment than a question.
Yes, sir.
if I may, At this time. Water and sewer, as you say, municipal or
Right.
public water and sewer availability allows for those types of things that you're arguing for. However, they weren't put in there specifically for that reason.
they were not.
That's not why we spent, or the monies that we spent putting those systems in. It was primarily environmental, is to get the septic tanks and things offline so that it was an environmental pollution type thing. That is a benefit of it, but that's not the reason primarily that we've put water and sewer, or municipal water and sewer.
We didn't put it
in
in there
these
beyond.
facilities.
It doesn't mandate it.
That's right.
It's not sewer.
There's no sewer. There's no sewer.
I guess it's still my turn to talk. So,
No, it's not.
according to the comprehensive plan, it says that when you have these types of utilities brought into the area, it allows for the higher density.
right.
The plan that you adopted, the comprehensive plan that you adopted, pretty much at the same time after Katrina said that if those things happen, then developers can come in and propose subdivisions of this type of density.
Yeah, because without it, they could not.
Correct. And Mr. Ladner, you're well aware, having been one of the longest-serving members, just as you are, Ms. Rocco, on the utility authority, that there is a need in the county, I'm talking about for the Board of Supervisors, to establish customers on those utilities, because if you don't, then you're paying for all of that maintenance with no help with user fees. And so the only way you can get user fees to ever rise up to the point where it's enough to cover is going to be based upon the development of subdivisions and higher density. It's just a fact. Yes, and it's a very big number that you have to get every year, every month, without users, so.
And we have
Yeah.
the same issue with commercial. If you don't have rooftops, you will never have commercial.
Correct. And so we have put the commercial zoning in there for the idea that, rooftops will come and so will the commercial, because people are not gonna wanna go ahead and travel all the way back down to, the cities to do their business. That's basically my presentation. I'll take any questions from the board. I know that people are always against change. I know that they want to maintain things the way that they were. And if we were in West Harrison County and where there was no water, there was no sewer, there was no opportunity for it to come, then I would say that yes, it would not have the urban characteristics that this property does. But, once Highway 67 was put up there, and once those utilities were put up there, and once all these other public facilities were built up in there, the natural progression was to develop into subdivisions. So I hope you.
But not to be argumentative,
Yeah.
and I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
The quality of life issues,
Yes.
sometimes the economic benefits that we see, so.
They can.
Same.
Right.
So I think that's a serious issue. People invest in their properties over the years, they move for quality of life, so I think that it's
Mr.
not
Ladner.
only the economic part that we must consider.
I would agree with you 100%. The only point I would make to you, though, is we're not putting this big subdivision out on a country road. We're putting it next to a highway of 4 lanes that allows for a lot of development. And plus it has utilities out there, so just repeating what I already said. Thank you for your time.
What is the problem with going back to the 80-foot line?
What's the problem with it?
They won't be able to maintain.
So, let me just address this, because, let me just address this point since you asked. Y'all went ahead, I say you, the planning commission went ahead and developed an amendment. You haven't adopted it yet, but it says that in the event you want to have smaller lots, you have to go ahead and take into account the factor of how much wetlands, how much green space, all of those different things. We actually comply with that. Mr. Heinrich actually went to the trouble of doing the calculations to make sure that this would meet not only what the current ordinance is, but what your amendment is if you choose to adopt it. I know you haven't done it yet, but we met the criteria of what the planning commission at least recommended to you as an amendment.
But the issue, the question is, you can't prove a negative. We all realize. The issue is, you can't prove a negative.
Right.
If that was the proposal that would have been made in requesting the zoning change, these people would have probably been objecting to it, and that could have impacted whether the commission or the board of supervisors approved the zoning change.
Mr. Ladner,
So
I
I
can't,
can't prove a negative, but, you know, that's something you need to think about. You submitted one plan to get a zoning change, and then that plan changed.
I actually was not here. Mr. Simpson said I was here for that. I was not here during the zoning change. I came into this project later. Mr. Heinrich was. And what they presented at that time, I couldn't tell you, other than the fact I know there was an application for just the first phase. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that the board did go ahead and change it to that classification, and the time to appeal that has long since run, so there is no ability now to do that.
But that was on information that it was 200 and something lots, not 800 and something. I
Right.
think
We're
that is a
larger
different
lots.
ballgame.
Right. But
And
you-
townhomes too.
Right.
And when you have apartments, townhomes, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Malcolm, but you know, you have a lot of people on one chunk of land. You have a lot of kids going to school, so I can see that would be a concern.
Well, all I can say is this, is that the process y'all have, the way you've got it set up to do zoning changes and conditional use, you could go ahead and get a zoning change without a conditional use. You know that. It's not tied to it at all.
Okay.
It is not tied. Mr. Holloman, am I correct? All right.
They're different,
So,
zoning split.
yeah, totally different. You know, even the level of proof that you have to put on is totally different. I mean, the standard that you have to meet is much more rigorous to go ahead and get a change in zoning. Clear and convincing evidence, you have to show change in the neighborhood, public need. Now that all that's been done, I don't have to show that now, okay?
I recognize that, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand, Mr. Ladner, and
The request for zoning change was made based on the proposed conditional use
Right.
at that time,
right,
and that changed. And if I wouldn't object to a particular zoning change, I most likely will not object to a zoning change if I know why.
I understand.
And if the reason why is presented, and then that's changed later, you can understand why people would be concerned about that.
And I think that's a flaw, to be honest with you, in your zoning process, that hopefully it'll be revisited when you have a new planner to look at it, because that's not the way they do it in other places, in terms of how they do rezoning. They don't tie it to the conditional use process at all. So anyhow, it is what it is. We are where we are today. I appreciate your time. Yes,
Can I
sir.
ask one question? The board's asked several questions about commitments from the developer, right?
Yes.
Earlier, what the developer was gonna do about this and that and the other. The developer's not here today, as I understand it.
Right there.
Have y'all got a commitment?
I'm sorry.
How is this board going to bind the developer to do what y'all said to do?
They're right here in the office.
I'm talking about them being here, getting up and saying it. It's
Okay.
either gotta be part of the conditional use permit that they're gonna do X, Y, Z, or where is that gonna come from?
And that was one of our issues, I think, that we
That's
wanted to
been a
make
problem
sure
in the
that.
past, because the developer, once he sells it out, is gone.
So we specifically addressed that, if you read the transcript, and I know you did.
I read
But
parts of
Mr. Rondell Young actually wanted to have it very clear that they are approving it for this particular development. It was towards the end of the transcript, and he said, you know, if somebody else comes along different now, if it's a change, you gotta come back, you know that. And I said, yes, sir, I do. And I also said, if there's anything you wanna make as a condition, go ahead and do it, we'll agree to it right now. Just like I said to Ms. Rocco, if there's anything else additionally you wanna
We
make a
talked about the
condition.
conditions of the
Right.
amenities being done before and making sure that they were done.
Right.
Was that put into the?
It wasn't in their
planning commission?
recommendation, but we'd certainly accept that as a condition now.
Also, Tim, when you turn in applications and stuff like that, you have to have an agent, and I'm the agent for this project for the developer. And so,
For the owner of the property.
well,
The
he's gonna
developer's
be,
gonna
well,
buy the property, right? From the owner.
right now, he's the developer, so he get it approved so that he can sell it. So, I don't know how you want to.
Well, maybe I'm confused. D.R. Horton is who he's trying to sell it to.
Yes, correct.
The owner is the one that's proposing this, I understand that, but he's gonna flip it to D.R. Horton.
Yes, sir.
Yes, but they
So we have,
understand.
my concern is this board's made several things, we have to make sure
I
there's an
understand.
ability to force it against the person, because he's gonna turn around and say, I didn't make
I
this.
didn't make that down, yeah.
We
The only way to do that
specifically,
is to put it in the conditional use permit, that's a condition of getting that permit, and then he has to do
Remand
it, or
this
the
back
permit
to
can
the
be
planning
revoked.
commission for that, for those
we
specifics.
specifically said that though at the time, that it was in fact a condition. Mr. Young, I mean, I know y'all, hopefully you saw
I
that
read
in the
it.
transcript. It says that very plainly, that says that, you know, whatever the condition was that we proposed. In other words, if anybody else other than D.R. Horton wants to develop any phase of this, they have to come back and have a whole new application. It says that in there, but, you know, I'm willing at this point, as is the developer, for you to go ahead and make those explicit conditions part of this record now. There's no point to remand it back just for that sole purpose, if it's your intent to go ahead and approve this.
Okay,
If approved.
Sir?
If approved.
If approved, correct.
thanks.
We'll sit down and allow rebuttal.
I'd like the same 10 minutes I got. The longest 10 minutes in history, Mr. Lyon.
Minutes are different, we can say.
You know, this board made a very good point about how do we guarantee and how do we protect and this, that, and the other. When people appear before different tribunals, they make different promises. And they tell you, you know, they got everything but a snow cone machine out there. Let me read from you what they said last time, and you compare it to what they said today. This is the minutes from the September 16th, 2021 here. The applicant was present. Mr. Bonk verified the total acreage of the whole project was 423 acres. He added that lots have been increased to 80 feet wide with a total of 212 instead of 230. So when they sold this to y'all, and not any question what they sold you, they sold you 212 lots with 80-foot fronts. Now, I'm not saying they did that with deceit or in their heart at the time, but if you're telling me this board is without the authority to be sold a project based on representations to you, and the developer can either for whatever reason, intentionally or otherwise, or because he's got a better business deal walk in his front door, say, wait a minute, I'm gonna let that one expire, and I'm gonna come back with a new one that changes the whole thing, because I already got my zoning. Y'all are helpless. You brought it up a little while ago, Mr. Ladner. Are we just a ministerial, or you just a ministerial board that approves stuff with no recourse? You should not allow your hands to be tied like that. Developers will do this over and over and over. And we all know why. That's their words, not mine. With respect to the Mdot, what he's showing you on that map is the crossover between the east and westbound lanes that was put in for dogwood. Let me read to you from the transcript verbatim what they said just a couple months ago. Mr. Heinrich, I do not have an Mdot permit because we're not into engineering yet. But if they do deny that, then I'll put another entrance out onto Three Rivers Road if I have to. I've got to have two ways out. That's part of the subdivision requirements. So all about we've got this and we've got that, it's not what he said 60 days ago. These promises about what we're gonna do and what we're gonna sell to and what they're gonna do are all premised on something they told you that is no longer exist. They let that expire, either intentionally or by negligence or by inability of funding or by rising interest rates, I don't care. But to come back now and tell you we've got an icon of the subdivision when there's gonna be 3 houses per acre, and it doesn't just affect Dogwood Hills. It affects Townley Road, it affects Three Rivers Road. Dogwood Hills are 1 acre lots. Up and down Three Rivers is much larger than 1 acre. Townley the same way. These people invested in this. It is a lifestyle. They invested out in the county. You know, if they got annexed and the city of Gulfport wanted to do stuff around them, they'd have to fight that. But to let them come in and put an 870 parcel subdivision in 300 acres, with 60-foot fronts, 40% of it 60-foot fronts, is not fair to the homeowners. It's not smart development. You've got Tradition right next door that has over 15,000 residential lots available. There's 35,000 residences or people allowed to move into that area. How much residential does Harrison County need? That's just Tradition. What about all the other developments that you've approved in the last 18 months, 2 years, that are being developed or not? And in the same vein, what about all those ones? I was just before you last week where we got a problem with the road that hadn't even been dedicated to the county because the developer walked out on the second 2 phases of a 3-phase subdivision. Built phase 1 and left, never even finished overlaying the road. And the performance bond is clearly not enough. How are you gonna bind these people? He says it's gonna take years and years. And the homeowner association, of which is not gonna exist materially for years and years, is gonna maintain all these amenities, which you want built first? This is a disaster. This is a disaster, folks. They're trying to cram, exactly what Mr. Hendricks said. They're trying to cram down 870 houses into an area that simply is not compatible. It's not in conformity with the surrounding properties. It's not a wise development, and you should not allow it.
You wind it down.
These people are here, ladies and gentlemen, because they didn't know. They weren't told. What they told was not as objectionable as to what they're doing now. Think of the traffic, think of the impact on the school district, on fire, police, on the number of cars coming out on the Three Rivers Road and 67. Think of the safety. And think if that's what you really want, if that's the type of development you want out there. Given what you've already approved and what you've already acknowledged is a change in the size and type of development you want. Thank you.
I'd like to, I think this is a good subdivision. I really do. I think that, I love the fact that we have commercial, but I would like to tailor it in order for us to make sure that we know the guarantees that this developer is going to allow in this subdivision. And the sizes, lot sizes, the amenities, all of those things. So I'd like to move to table.
Okay. Motion to move the table, can we get a
I'll second.
second? Is there any further discussion? All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
May I ask a question? Will it come back up again, or will we notify?
Notified, but we need, this board, I think, needs some guarantees in writing.
I understand. Can we be excused?
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Moving number
Thank you.
68. Ready? Yes, 68. Okay, item 74, order authorizing the reimbursement to the road fund 1500360 in amount of $259.02 payable from Road Protection Sand Beach Fund 156355581.
Motion.
Motion? Discussion? Any further any discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 75, order authorizing the reimbursement to the general fund 001-200-542 in amount of $30.13 payable from Fire Services Fund 106250542 for repair and work performed by Fire Services vehicle. Motion.
Motion.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 76, order authorizing transfer from the Workers' Comp Insurance Fund 682-900-950 in the amount of $1,237,500 to the various funds as follows. Motion.
Motion.
Second, discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Order authorizing interloan funds and repayment per the attached schedule. Motion.
Motion.
Second, discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Order acknowledging the July 22 travel and procurement card detail attached as follows. Motion.
Motion.
Second, discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Order authorizing the issuance of duplicate warrants as listed.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Order approving payments of the following claims. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed, motion carries. 81, order authorizing disposal of records pursuant to the order of the Chancery Court of Harrison County, Mississippi First Judicial District, State August 23, 2022, authorized disposal of exhibits in the custody of the Chancellor Clerk, John McAdams. Motion.
Motion. Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed, motion carries. Order approving the reimbursement in the total amount of $46,270.10 to the Chancellor Clerk's fee account for records restoration and preservation employees costs payable from 001-101-461. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Order approving the final recapitulation of the 2022 real and personal property assessment rolls in the first and second judicial districts and authorizing the execution of same. Motion.
Motion.
Second discussion. Is that 5 billion? Did I read that right? 5 billion now?
The assessor.
Yeah. Was that?
I don't have it in front of me, I apologize.
One was about 2.8, the top figures, and then there was something underneath it was 5, something 5.
2.8 sounds better.
2.8,
Yeah.
but it says, unless I misread it, Jennifer.
It must be total personal and.
It's personal and real.
it may
Would be about
Combined.
5 billion,
Yeah,
combined?
because you casinos.
Yeah.
in person.
I'd have to look at it before I answer.
Okay.
Same
That's
deal.
all right, yeah.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Mr. President, before you leave me, I handed out, it may not be recognized.
Sure.
I handed out these three,
Right.
This is your diversion center.
y'all had questions about the diversion center, and I've highlighted the goals of the diversion center. Kind of explains what the goal is, what they're trying to accomplish.
What I've been waiting to see this, John, have we got a clarification on whether it will assist us if we have a limited number of beds at CSU? Will we be able to use that diversion center as a CSU bed?
I was told by the director, this is a hybrid diversion center, which means that's why they have the 8 beds.
Right.
It's kind of, but again, I wasn't at the presentation, I think that's what got y'all confused, but that's something that you can look at.
Well-
But I've been told it's a hybrid.
Okay, and I think Rebecca was there and
Yeah,
helped me
Right.
remember that it was first imparted to us, because I brought up the
Sure.
issue of the CSU beds, and that was not the function of the diversion center. However, I think in the discussions, they kind of backed off a little bit, kind of like John said.
Yeah, but I've just texted the director to
Yeah.
confirm that, and I'll let y'all know. The
Right.
next thing is the
Well,
two,
excuse me, and also that'll be Harrison County specific.
it is
That's
Harrison
the other
County
thing.
Diversion Center.
Okay.
Yeah, because our commitment to the diversion center, that's fixing to
Thank
stick
y'all,
in
need to
probably
clear
an
it up.
additional $1 million+ into the mental health, and we seem to be having a problem with CSU as our primary problem. So
Well,
if
if
that
you read the
diversion
email I sent where they claimed they took in 305 respondents after commitment, that was at the annual report.
Right.
Did y'all read the email?
Yes, I saw that, and that was not the
It was
amount.
137
Okay.
So you're saying it's 137 actually,
It's not
but,
saying it's actual records.
Actual record.
but the email, what they're saying is more like 300.
Well, it was a verbal presentation. And
Okay.
if you remember, it wasn't a written report, but it was a verbal presentation. I kind of challenged it. She said, yes, you can verify that in course. We verified with official records.
That was not the case. What we were told.
Public guardian represents the respondents, so they know where they're placed. So it's not me being prejudiced in any way, that's the record. So they were off on their numbers. Now, if you see the other two, also, attached to the diversion is how the grant was written. And this was written by Pine Belt, and that's how they do
For the
this.
diversion center.
For the diversion. So that's how it was granted. If you go to the other two, these are grants that was announced by the director, Wendy Bailey, in June of 2021. It said Harrison County will have additional $400,000 for court liaison and security, which a total of $800,000 they never acted on. But if you read the highlighted sections on security, which gives you an idea of what is to maintain, to admit and treat individuals who have previously been denied because it was deemed too aggressive.
Right.
So the goal was to help them and help Harrison County. They didn't take advantage. Court liaison, the same thing.
Excuse me, did they receive the funds for that but never hired for it?
Let me just say this, they were granted the amount of money, they never took advantage of it. They never
Did they
hired.
get the money?
It was there. It was earmarked for Harrison County, security and.
And liaison.
And it expired.
Well, my point is, John, to the board, and I was very supportive of the diversion center because I understood that it was going to give us some relief as far as the restrictions on the number of beds we had at CSU. And now, I do know also, and the sheriff pointed that out, that it would be a
Single point of entry.
single point of entry, which would be good as well, but to commit over $1 million just for that, I don't know.
Well,
So I would like
well,
to
the problem
really,
you're gonna have is your responsibility of a citizen. And that's why you're paying what you're paying, and you're paying additional because there's no beds in the state, from the state. There's no beds at your current CSU. And this board, I salute them and Tim for getting this all worked out where you can treat this individual.
well,
And that's what's happening, which is costing you more. It's kind of hard to put the pencil to it if you don't have their budget. And for them to tell you, this is what we're dedicating for your county for involuntary treatment
right.
and for the services on Broad Avenue.
But-
You need that budget so you can make some
I agree.
comments about
I
it.
agree. But one of the things that was indicated in our meeting in reference to the diversion center was, when I was questioning about the availability of beds to assist us with the CSU, they did say that the diversion center, the opportunities for treatment at the diversion center in some period of time would help by the fact that people wouldn't be needing those commitment services. That they could take it on early on. They could treat these people early on without then having to have the
let me say this.
involuntary commitments.
I disagree. I know they have a great vision with these teams. I haven't seen these teams do anything for listen. hear me
No,
out.
I agree with you. I'm not.
So they give you this presentation about these CERT teams and all the teams that go out and prevent. That hasn't stopped. The numbers continue to be over 400 a year that applicants come in and ask for people to be taken and assessed and evaluated because they're a threat to themselves and others. So it hasn't reduced. It's been here almost 2 years. They haven't reduced that part. That's my point about involuntary commitments, because they don't really address it in their budget. How they're gonna help you with that?
This is not gonna reduce it either, Doc. What you're talking about is not gonna reduce our numbers either. It's not gonna do anything.
If you recall, when they indicated that the services that they would provide should in the future reduce the number of involuntary commitments, they're gonna catch people early for mental health services and all that. And they were specifically pointing out one in Kansas, a diversion center in Kansas that they were using as the example. And I asked them if they had any statistics or documentation that would show that once they implemented that diversion center in Kansas, do they have any information, documents, or records that would indicate that their request for involuntary commitments in Kansas, where this diversion center servicing was reduced over a period of time? And the doctor indicated, she indicated that they did not have those statistics, but she would check and see.
It's a multi-million population up there.
I mean, I'm just.
I don't know how they could do that, but anyway.
My point is, I think this board made the commitment for a diversion center primarily for help with the lack of beds available for CSUs.
I'll get you on an answer on the hybrid. The sheriff and I have discussed it. The sheriff was in agreement. He and I are in disagreement about that. Because I told him I thought it was a hybrid. But anyway, when she answers, I'll let you know what the difference is in a regular diversion versus a hybrid.
Because we've just committed to probably over $1 million.
You haven't passed it.
Program.
Haven't passed it.
We committed to it.
But what about this 800,000?
It could be like that development.
It might be, but let me tell you, they're in the process of trying to implement this diversion center we're talking about, based on the fact that
Can't have it
Harrison.
without Harrison County.
I know it,
belongs
but
to
they're
Harrison
in the
County.
process of doing that based on the fact that we committed to pay for the building and maintenance of the building.
I also want to know why we didn't get the 800,000 that they could have been awarded. That's very
not-
troubling.
They don't answer me, they don't answer anything that I want, that's for sure.
Can we
I'd have
do
to
a
go
workshop?
with
Can we do a motion to have them here? I mean,
I would do, just a suggestion, the key is the money you give and how they spend it. And it's not addressing your big problem, which is placing sick people involuntary. So what they're doing at Broad Avenue, you know, rosy picture, great. I want it to be, that's a good service. But they need to come in with their budget and say, we're gonna do this to make sure we have staff and maintain the beds.
That's my point. I pointed out to them, we're already spending over $130,000 this year. A bit extra than what we're committing to them for their budget. And we don't know what their total cost is gonna be. So we're already
Let's give you
spending
an
over
idea
that.
about the security. We have someone in the emergency room at Memorial today. They will not take them because he's walked out of their facility twice. Now, if you had security, you could kind of hopefully stop that from happening. But they have no security. They don't want any. I don't know why, but they don't want any.
Wasn't there some comment that they couldn't use the grant money for security?
Yes.
They said that by law they couldn't
They said that they could
restrain.
not use.
Right.
They just said it.
And the guy was sitting right in front of us.
But they did say
Right here
that
it
that's
says
what they
that.
were going after, the money that John's talking
That's
about for
right.
security.
That's right, for security, but the grant money could not be used for security.
Restraining, they said,
Yes.
forcing someone to stay.
I kind of see security as a force to make people.
Yeah.
Well, when I talked to
Yeah.
the facility director, Alex, she says they can't put their hands on it.
83, do we get a vote?
Now, we had one,
You can't put your hands on them and they decide to get up and leave, then they're gonna get up and leave.
last week we had one that was stabbed in the eye with a sharp plastic brush.
A patient?
A patient stabbed an employee at
Employee.
CSU. And we asked them to press charges because they went to the jail. The sheriff wants charges pressed. They said, we don't want that. He may be charged with a felony. Well, there you go.
I think it's.
Happens to be the eyes.
It is a felony if you attack somebody.
I've come to the conclusion it's gonna take a Solomon to solve this problem.
I think you should be in the business.
Who, me?
Yeah, you should open a facility.
Oh, yeah.
Moving along, thanks.
Thank you very much for your time.
Number 84, order concurring with the Harrison County School District decision to approve 16-section commercial lease agreement between the Harrison County School District and Persimmons Hills Baptist Church for land situated in the south half, southeastern quarter, section 16, township 5, range 13 west, first judicial district, Harrison County. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving change order number 1 to contract with Full Industrial Contractors, Inc. for fiscal year 2022, 62623 Long Beach Pavilion, Harbor and Volleyball Area Tile Line Grant Project, increasing the contract amount by $2,665 to add an additional concrete spacer and drainage structure as recommended by Brown Mitchell and Alexander. Motion.
Motion. Second.
You got two motions and two seconds.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Order approving the payment of Full Industrial Contractors, Inc. for pay application 1 in the amount of $89,815.38 for Tile Lands Project FY22 P62623 Long Beach Pavilion, Harbor and Volleyball Area payable from 324-525-5581. Motion.
Second discussion, that's not just some volleyball court, these are gonna be some professional volleyball courts that are gonna be established and bring in some of these tournaments and stuff like that, so just for clarification, that's what they are.
But the public can use them too, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's gonna be open.
Marlon, I want to see you down there.
Sir. Come on down, you better wear your sunglasses.
You got your little outfit?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, is there any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 87. Order concurring with the Harrison County School District decision to approve 16-section commercial lease transmission line easement agreement between the Harrison County School District and Mississippi Power Company for land situated in the northeast quarter, the southeast quarter, and the south half of the southeast quarter of section 16, township 7 south, range 11 west, St. Stephen's Principal Meridian, Harrison County, Mississippi, and authorizing the board to execute the same. Board President, motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order adjudicating renewal of commercial excess flood insurance policy from Lloyd's of London for coverage from September 4, 2022 to September 4, 2023, as recommended by BXS Insurance for property located at 257 Davis Avenue. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Discussion, excuse me, Mr. President, what are we
We had
leasing that?
Yes, we are. Coastal leasing it.
I'm sorry.
All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 89, order approving travel for Supervisor Reverend Martin and Supervisor Connie Rocco to attend the 2022 NACO Gulf States Counties and Parish Caucus Convention and to be held September 22nd to 25th, 2022 in New Sea County, Corpus Christi, Texas, as an estimated cost of $1165.47. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second discussion, I expect Ms. Rocco and them to make sure they do not open that Bonnet Carey spillway.
We're working on
If
it.
you're gonna go and have those meetings, make sure they do not open that Bonnet Carey spillway.
It's the 5 state caucus of counties and parishes, so it's gonna be a battle.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving purchase of radio and accessories for Communications International for Constable Allen Weatherford, District 3, in amount of $3,068.11.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
Yeah, statutorily, are we able to do that? I mean, I love Alan, but is that statutorily we're able, okay.
Yeah, I think you can.
I wasn't sure, because I
I'm
heard
shaking
something
my head,
else.
yes.
2 years ago, I was told I couldn't buy a radio for a constable, but we can.
You gotta buy their stamp.
Just
too.
making sure. I may have been told wrong.
Let's make sure then, that's a good question.
I don't think you can, I think you have to buy them their pay for their equipment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Recently, they even said we had to pay for stamps and envelopes. So I would think radios would be at least equivalent to a
Would be
stamp.
more
or an
important,
envelope.
anyway.
Right, okay.
I would think so. Yeah, I think you have to pay for their uniforms, equipment on the car.
Okay, number 9, order approving purchase of radio and accessories from 91, yeah. Order authorizing the board president to execute the senior services match agreement and the membership agreement between SMPDD and Harrison County Board of Supervisors. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order authorizing and approving assistance in the form of field and low-lying areas to improve drainage of Eagle Point Park with the city of Biloxi as per the terms of the interlocal government cooperation agreement between the city and Harrison County.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. In favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 93, order authorizing and approving assistance for removal of disposable playground equipment and railroad ties at Pennzoil and McManus Park within the city of Biloxi as per terms of the interlocal government and cooperation agreement between the city and the county. Motion. Second. Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. I think number 94, 95, 96, we get a motion to table per Supervisor Martin.
We have a motion to table 94, 95, 96.
Do we know why?
This could be, she said she wanted to discuss it a little
She
further.
wanted to discuss it further.
Get a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussions? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 97, order approving the city of Biloxi's temporary use of county equipment needed to assist in hosting the 41st annual Biloxi Seafood Festival on September 10 to 11, 2022, pursuant to the terms of the interlocal governmental cooperation agreement between the city and Harrison County.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed? Motion carries. 98, order approving the temporary use of county equipment by Sacred Heart Catholic Church needed to assist in hosting its 96th annual bazaar. Motion.
Motion.
Second discussion.
Discussion.
Can we do that, Tim?
It's been done as advertised in county resources, so that's pretty broad authority for the board adjudicates if necessary to.
That's not saying that in this motion.
It is in the order attached.
In the order
says that,
attached,
but
okay.
It wasn't put that on the agenda. That was my question when I saw it too. So I think you can do it. And they're also, it's a garbage truck that they're putting out there to collect garbage, which is,
Health.
yeah, health. So I think you can do it.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 99, order acknowledging the receipt of the appraisal prepared by Alan Purvis on tax parcel number 0609A 0100500 and being located in section 13, township 7, south, range 13 west, adjudicating the adjusted offer of $15,000 to the property owner to acquire road right-of-way and temporary construction easements for the improvements to the intersection of Canal and Landon Roads project number SAP 2459, accepting the easement executed by Martha G. Snelling and authorizing the payment of $15,000 for said easement. Motion?
Motion.
Second.
Discussion?
Is that the last one?
Last one. We still have the issue of removing the underground gas tank we'll have to deal with.
Okay,
Once we get this done, get the right of way certified, then we can deal with that.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order approving memorandum of understanding between the city of Biloxi and Harrison County regarding Sand Beach renourishment.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order authorizing and approving an increase in the annual retainer paid to the board attorney pursuant to the authority grant with Mississippi Code annotated. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order adjudicating the tax sale of August 30th, 2021 on tax parcel number 0612F02047 for 2020 taxes erroneous and thus voided ab initio and for related purposes. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion.
More information, this was they misapplied to the wrong parcel number, and the parcel got sold, so it qualifies to be set aside.
Imagine the owner was a little upset when he paid the taxes and found out it was sold too.
Probably was.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order consider concurring with the resolution of the Board of Trustees, MGCC, requesting Harrison County Board of Supervisors assistance for manpower, material, and equipment to upgrade the commercial truck driving program, of course, and provide material to the heavy equipment operating program, West Harrison County Center. Motion.
Motion.
Second.
Discussion, they gonna reimburse us up to that, amount. We calculated the expenses for them, for that.
Okay. Any further discussion?
So this is the motion to approve because it was considered. So
What is it, say?
it was just considering it.
We need a motion
So you just
to.
need
Well, I'm making a motion
to approve that.
to do it,
Okay.
not consider it, but do it.
Second.
Second.
All right. All in favor of that motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Order approving installation of street lights as listed.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Order adjudicating and authorizing expenditure that's listed as necessary to advertise and bring to favorable notices for the opportunities, possibilities, and resources of Harrison County, Mississippi, including the county logo being displayed along with links displayed to Harrison County online in order to provide access to the public of resources of Harrison County payable from 002-100-522. Motion.
Motion.
Second discussion, is that on our senior program?
It is,
Senior
it's part of
offices,
This is the first one they've had
Yeah.
since COVID.
Good.
So y'all just have to figure out how much, because I wasn't told how much y'all want to do. So you just have to decide how much.
I'll be glad when I get old enough to participate.
One day, sir.
Oh.
One day.
Call them and ask them.
There were different tiers in the backup. There's different tiers.
Oh.
So whichever one, there's $100, $300, $500, $1,000.
Okay, all in
In the
favor?
backup.
Yeah, that's fine, 1,000 for the gold
Yeah.
sponsorship, logo and publicity, collateral, full page program sponsored
That's
events.
the motion reflected.
Okay. We didn't vote on it, did we? All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Order adjudicating and authorizing expenditures as listed is necessary to advertise and bring into favorable notice the opportunities, possibilities, and resources of Harrison County, Mississippi, including the county logo being displayed along with links displayed to Harrison County online, Harrison County, in order to provide access to the public of the resources of Harrison County.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor of the motion say aye. All opposed?
No.
Motion carried. Tim, you have anything?
We do need an executive session to discuss pending litigation matter like Barrows versus Lamb. Won't take long, I don't think.
Okay. A motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Second.
Second. All in favor of the motion
Closed
say
session
aye.
for this clearly litigation, pending litigation.
Okay.
Motion come out of executive session.
He doesn't need to. You can tell him he can go.
Can you get a second?
Oh,
Oh, he can come in.
I didn't
Just-
see him.
Whatever you want to do.
Second.
I just want to-
Second.
All in favor of the
Sorry.
motion say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Tim, you get a chance to give your report.
I'll talk to you, let me talk to you after, I'll come down to your office.
Okay.
so I get this signed too. Okay, during the course of the executive session, the board discussed the matter of pending litigation, and the board passed an order. So in executive session, it's spread on the minutes.
I understand.
It's in the minutes.
I know I can't speak, I just want to leave my card.
You're speaking right now. Sorry, Johnny.
I will say that. Here, give it.
I would like to, it's a huge improvement over what's up there.
Okay.
Do I need the, hey,
Good.
do I need the vote on that, like what y'all?
You're gonna get it in the
Okay.
agenda. It's gonna be in the order that you already, we sent you.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Okay. I'd like the board to consider reconsider the, I can't remember what number it was. The success, number 46. Zoning issues, some things have come to light that,
First, you have to move to rescind your order.
I'd like to rescind
We're
that
remanding
order.
it back to the planning commission.
Can we get a second?
Second?
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
And number 47. And in view of the information that, additional information that I've received, I will make a motion to approve. Is that number 47?
46.
46.
Number 46 on the agenda.
Okay.
All in favor, if there is further discussion on 46, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Aye.
Make sure to let the planning commission know.
I'm gonna-
Oh, they
Look at here.
Thank you.
Did Tim, you have anything else?
That's it. If y'all have any questions,
Angela?
I do not think.
y'all gotta do something wrong, we're getting low on litigation.
Now,
Please.
I think anything.
Supervisor Powell?
So just a few little things. Remember last year when Susan Jones, who's Rebecca Kramer's sister, went back to Atlanta and she's working at the Women's Resource Center where they give free ultrasounds and clothing and Pampers and all these things. And we gave her kind of our word that we would like consider putting her in, our budget. And that's my fault. I never brought it up during budget. And if we could do akin to what we maybe do for CASA and other child rights. I know that you say that there's how do we go about that?
You cannot donate directly to them. We do advertise the county resource, which the board has done in the past.
That's what.
So that's one way to do it. The other thing is, you can't, if they are a rape crisis, if they give rape crisis counseling or domestic violence counseling,
They do that.
but they're gonna have to give us something that the board can act on that says that, and the board can donate to them.
Could, Mr. President, do you think we could hear them out next Monday in Biloxi? She's asking.
She did ask me before the meeting started if she could be added.
Yeah, I'm just
Y'all.
answering the
If you
phone.
would just give us something in writing that says what they do, that would probably be sufficient if the board's of a mind to do that. It's probably better, as I said, Rebecca, that if we go get a local and private bill that allows you to do it like we did for Feed My Sheep. It's just clearer there. This is,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to find that they are providing domestic violence counseling, which I think would go along with the Women's Resource Center.
Every year, if she intends to donate to them every year, it would make
Yes.
sense to do it through local and private.
But you're saying that's legislation. That
A
could
local
take.
and private bill.
It didn't take too
Just
long.
change.
Oh,
Not
okay.
as long as it's the
Well,
local.
I'm saying if you're gonna
If
do
it's-
it,
You know, the
if
things
you
take
get
forever.
into the big thing, it's not, but if it's
Not
a local and private.
I think you can do it if they provide one of those two statutes, then the statute authorizes a donation to them up to a certain amount. I'll just go look at the statute again. But if you're gonna do it on an annual basis, it's probably better to get a local and private bill, so we're not running, somebody can come along and say, wait a minute, they don't do domestic violence, and we've been doing it for years, and now you got a problem.
Okay,
It'd be better, we did that with Feed My Sheep, we got the bill, it's not hard to do.
okay.
I don't know why they wouldn't.
I'll just get with you on that later, Tricia.
Yeah,
They can get it done this year for the next budget year.
yeah, but if you'll come in and give a presentation that shows what they're giving domestic violence training
Okay.
or counseling.
But it's not gonna be their primary, and you could probably
Need training to be
get
a
more money
domestic
to
violence.
them if you got the local and private.
Okay.
You could
If you're gonna
do
do it on a
advertising
permanent
county
basis, you need
resources
local
in the
and private.
meantime.
Okay.
And generally, the way that was done on Feed My Sheep, it had a clause in it that it terminated after a certain time, wasn't readopted.
So can I make a motion now for the
Wait.
advertising county resources like Connie said, or y'all rather wait till Monday?
I want to get them to
Let's
see if
wait.
they do domestic violence,
Okay.
if they do that.
Okay, so on the advertising county resources, they did it 4 years in unison prior to COVID, but they sponsored an event.
Right.
It was not, we're just giving them X for advertising county
Gotcha.
resources.
That's
They had the, I
The
forget
yard
what it
sale,
was
I
called.
think they do.
It
It's a
was
fundraiser.
dance
How would you
or-
advertise
dressed up
resources
like-
for council?
We dressed up like something.
You can't
You can't, but by having an event, you could.
And you did $1,000 the first year, and the 3 years thereafter, you did 1,500 for each.
Well, I could envision a way to do it.
Okay, so we'll wait till Biloxi, if we could get them on next week.
Yeah, I'll
Thank you.
probably-
Would you reach out to her?
Yeah, I talked to her this morning.
Thank you. And I'll tell her you'll get in touch with her, because she's texting me now. Thank you. And then the other thing is, the aquarium is, has that free thing that they do every year, the Hancock Winnie Sea of Stars. They need to borrow our bleachers and some chairs. I know you were fine with it because it is free to the public.
Make sure they're not booked with the county.
Okay, so who do I check with?
Who does that?
District 1.
District 1?
Who's in charge?
You asked
What
them for
district?
bleachers and chairs?
Yeah, remember we met with them, they wanted bleachers and chairs. They don't say in here advertising county resources. Do I need to get them to change the letter?
Does the city, are they separate from the city of Gulfport, or are they city of Gulfport?
They're saying aquarium and nonprofit
The
501c3.
They're
But the
separate.
aquarium is associated with the city of Gulfport. Seems like the city of Gulfport
No,
could do
it's a
that to
non-
our own local
We,
group.
that's, I don't know.
It's a
The city of
nonprofit.
Gulfport.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay, they need to
501c3
send you a letter.
nonprofit.
So what, Tricia?
They need to send you a letter requesting.
Same
saying
thing with the
advertising county
tricentennial.
resources.
The same
Marlon.
thing, just
It's
add
got some committee.
advertising county resources. Okay. Brittany, can I give you that and you can follow up? Thank you. And that's all I got.
I don't have anything. Supervisor Rocco,
No, sir.
Ms. Pam,
That's
Sheriff,
Except that I got a gator this weekend.
can we get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
you rest.
Second.
Yeah. You second my answer.
Second.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried.
So have a good one. I'll see y'all later.